Do you remember the first time that you heard about Avowed? That rush of excitement, imagining a world as vast and adventurous as Obsidian promised? Well, here we are 3 years later, and I'm even more hyped than when it first got announced, and here's why. When I learned that Obsidian was going to be returning to the world of Eoria, I instantly got excited. And even some of this more recent negative press has not dissuaded me from still being excited. But some of you might be asking right now, what is Eoria? And what do you mean returning? This game isn't called Avowed 2 or anything. I didn't know that this was set in a pre established universe. Well, it is. Now, a lot of people already know this, but a lot of my friends who I've talked to in real life had no clue that this game was already set in a pre established universe and the same world as Pillars of Eternity, which is a CRPG made by Obsidian and that was released a while ago. Almost 10 years ago, in fact, now the first game came out in 2015 and then they released a sequel in 2018. I really recommend you play these games, not just if you're interested in Avowed, but if you're interested in great RPGs in general. They are incredible and have a great story. But what is the world of Pillars of Eternity? If you've only watched Avowed trailers, you might come away with the assumption that it's just some sort of generic fantasy world with guns, but it is so much more than that. One of the most unique parts of the Aoria world is just how important souls are in the game. There are no atheists in the strictest sense. Souls are 100% real, and reincarnation is a fact of life. All of the denizens in the game's world call it the wheel. When you die, you're going to be returned to the wheel and reborn in a new body and new life. That's it. A lot of the problems in the Pillars of Eternity series stem from disruptions in that cycle. Another interesting part of the world is that there are iguathons, which are somewhat like the Roman Empire in the world. Well, that's not even really accurate. What I'm trying to get at is that there is a long dead civilization that was super advanced and is responsible for a lot of the current world's technology and magic. But what makes them even cooler, okay, I'm about to say a spoiler here for the first Pillars of Eternity games. Please click away and play them. Please play them. They're so awesome. The Iguathans are actually the current gods of the universe. They experimented in mass many years ago and made themselves into gods in an attempt to make a paradise. It's the big plot twist of the first game, and it really flips the setting on its head. Because you find out the gods aren't gods. They're just supremely powerful beings, but they aren't divine. They weren't there at the beginning of time. They didn't create everything as we know it. They are just mortals who superseded the physical plane. And I think that really is an interesting concept because it really throws a wrench into the whole world. Gods and mysticism and divinity are such a big part of the world, but then you find out the gods aren't even really gods. I mean, the game's world is just beyond unique and very morally gray. And Avow's narrative director is also the lead writer of the second Pillars of Eternity game, which, in my opinion, is the best one, even though the sales numbers do not reflect that. But that's also a big reason why I'm excited that they're returning to this world. I mean, these games in this universe are RPG masterpieces. I honestly think that Pillars of Eternity 2 rivals New Vegas. And after the game flopped, I was really worried that we were never going to be able to return to the world. But this game, Avowed, doesn't look like just another standard RPG, but a return to Obsidian's best. Now, if you ask gamers 6 years ago what they thought about Obsidian, they would have said it's one of the best video game developers ever. Video game royalty. One of the best to ever do it. But then when they released Outer Worlds, it changed their perception among the public. People were expecting another New Vegas, which the marketing was definitely trying to tout and claim it as. Instead, you got something more akin to Bethesda slop. No real choices, bland and boring companion, your actions not mattering. I mean, when that game first released, I was super excited. But each hour I played, I was having less and less fun. The game just felt so front loaded. They put so much care into the opening planet, but after that, it seems like they gave up because they knew that game journalists weren't going to play beyond that. But if you check out other Obsidian games, they still definitely have that spark that they're associated with. games like Pentiment, Tyranny, and ultimately the Pillars of Eternity series show that they still know how to make great games that appeal to people and have real choices that make you think. I really hope and think that this game will be a return to form for the company. So far from what the gameplay reveal has shown, along with reviewers' hands on gameplay, I think it looks incredible and very fluid. I thought Outer Worlds really struggled with having interesting combat. I found combat to be very boring in that game. I mean, it felt like every gun shot the same. I mean, yeah, the weapons had a cool aesthetic to them. I sort of like the retro futurism vibe they were going for. But at the end of the day, in that game, a gun shoots a bullet and you stay in cover and sort of take pot shots, or maybe you can run around and shoot. But even then, every gun felt the same. Even the melee weapons were just incredibly boring. I mean, just smash your mouse button at a bad guy and kill him. I also think that the Outer Worlds struggled with real moral choices. Like, yeah, obviously in that game you can side with the board, who are the bad guys, who are the big corporations in charge of the universe. But honestly, it's hard to even roleplay seriously as a bad guy in that world because the big bads were just so incompetent. Like in the Outer Worlds, the whole big problem is that there is a famine going on. They are running out of food. So you're telling me that this large international corporation doesn't understand how farming works? They can't figure out how to make more food? There is a little bit in universe about how the soil's bad and they can't really grow crops, but I mean, one of the side quests in the game has you visit a top secret research facility where they are inventing a toothpaste which dulls the appetite. Like, really, these guys who we're supposed to be scared of and who are killing people and are doing terrible things are wasting resources doing something so stupid. Like, I know it's played for laughs and the Outer Worlds is supposed to be a bit silly, but then they attempt to play things completely straight. Like, I don't know. I don't understand how I'm supposed to take the game seriously or the world seriously when everything is a joke. And I think it really destroyed the game for me and a lot of other people. I mean, it's no fun when the big bad is just like so incompetent, but then you're also supposed to be scared of them. But based off the previews of Avowed, it seems like they have rectified this issue a lot. I think the game looks like it allows you to roleplay as whoever you want to be without completely destroying immersions. There's reasons to take certain choices. You can still be a dickhead, obviously, which I love. I saw that Dragon Age Veilguard had a big issue with that. I got a refund on that game after like 20 minutes, man. That game, I just couldn't even get into it. I also think that the combat in Avowed looks great and very exciting. I'm a sucker for like a gun and magic system where people have wands and pistols. I find that aesthetic very cool. I'm also glad that they're staying with the Outer World system of handcrafted zones instead of a more open world. I think this allows developers to better craft content for each zone that doesn't have to interact necessarily with the whole open world. It also reduces a lot of running around the map that open world games suffer from. I know some people do enjoy that, but even when I replay Skyrim or something, sometimes it's so annoying to just have to run around. Everything's running around. But of course, there has been some controversy. Most recently, it has been revealed that your characters will have their pronouns present on your character sheet and you get to choose your own. I know. Oh my god, the horror, the woke mind virus is invading my favorite video game series. Oh my god. I really don't understand why people are making such a big deal out of this. I think the first major reason some people are getting upset is that they think of it as an encroachment of wokeness into their game, and they think that it means the rest of the game will attempt to push a certain agenda, which I'm not too worried about that. I mean, I don't think that they're going to have a bunch of contemporary politics in the game. I don't think they're going to be making fun of like some orange goblin who looks like Trump or anything crazy. I just think having pronouns is barely a thing in game. It's really just going to determine how characters talk to you and what pronouns they use. I mean, I don't know. Does it really take it out of you that much? Do you really think that it's that much of a sign? that, wokeness has taken over the game studio. I don't happen to think so. Another reason that it's getting blown way out of proportion is that a lot of people are doing that on purpose, a la the quartering and other creators whose entire content identity is based around, owning the libtards and talking about how awful certain media properties are now because of wokeness. Which I will say, some properties are pretty bad about it, but I have no qualms about that with this game. All they did was add, pronouns. Starfield did the same thing. And you know what made Starfield suck? Not the pronouns, just it being a terrible game. I don't think that it really takes away from too much by choosing your own pronouns at the start of the game. Another concern has been the delays. They said that it's to give the game more breathing room. It was originally supposed to release in November 2024, but they said that they thought a February 2025 window looked better. I'm honestly not sure I agree. I think that the original release date would have helped sales better. I think the biggest issue with the new release date is that the new Kingdom Come Deliverance game, which I'm also very excited for, is coming out like 7 days before it releases. I think the company should be a lot more concerned with RPGs releasing close to the game's release date instead of just games in general. But I honestly think it's more just of a cop out for the game studio to have a bit more time to polish it up. And I think this game is only going to benefit from more polish. I have no problems waiting a bit longer if it means the game comes out better. I'm honestly just so hyped because I love the universe and RPGs in general. This is feeling a bit more than just a game to me. It feels a bit like returning to, one of my favorite media franchises. Returning to a world that I loved and was afraid that I would never get to see again. I'm still hyped for Avowed. I hope that everybody else is too, because I'm honestly worried if this game doesn't sell well that the universe of Pillars of Eternity is dead. They have talked about maybe making Pillars of Eternity 2, but they said they weren't going to do it unless they had a Baldur's Gate 3 budget, which, oh my gosh, imagine how good that game would be. So honestly, this could be wraps for the whole Aoria world if this game doesn't sell well. But I have high hopes. I think it's looking really good. So that's all I have. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. And remember that Jesus loves you.